Hey guys, let's talk about something that's been eating away at many of us, but we rarely discuss: loneliness. Do you know that feeling when you're surrounded by people but still feel completely alone? Or when you realize it's been weeks since you've had a real conversation with someone? Yeah, that's what we're exploring today. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this is happening and have a game plan to crush loneliness for good. Now, you might be thinking, come on, man. Loneliness? That's not a real problem. But here's the kicker. It is, and it's worse than ever before. In fact, recent studies show that a whopping 15% of men say they have no close friends at all. Zero. Nada. That's 5 times more than just 30 years ago. And only about a quarter of us can say we have 6 or more close buddies, which is half of what it used to be. We're talking about a full-blown crisis here, fellas. But why is this happening? Why are we, as men, feeling more isolated than ever before? There are a few reasons, and they might hit closer to home than you think. First, we're living in a world that's more connected than ever, but in all the wrong ways. We've got social media, messaging apps, and virtual meetups. But let's be real. How many of those connections are actually meaningful? How many of those 500-plus Facebook friends would you call if you needed help moving your couch? Probably not many, right? Then there's the whole "be a man" thing. Society still has this idea that real men don't need anyone, and that we should be lone wolves who can handle everything on our own. But here's the truth. That's complete BS. We're human beings, and human beings need connection. It's not a weakness. It's a fundamental part of who we are. And let's not forget about the pressure we put on ourselves. We're so focused on grinding, on hustling, on making it big that we forget to nurture our relationships. We think we'll have time for friends later after we've made it. But guess what? Later. It often never comes. Now, here's where it gets really serious. This loneliness isn't just making us feel bad. It's actually dangerous. Research shows that chronic loneliness can lead to depression and anxiety and even increase the risk of suicide. And the kicker? We're less likely than women to talk about it or seek help. We're suffering in silence, and it's literally killing us. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. We can turn this around, and we are going to show you how. First things first, we need to acknowledge the problem. If you're feeling lonely, it's not because you're weak or a failure. It's because you're human. Say it out loud if you need to. I'm feeling lonely, and that's okay. Recognizing the issue is the first step to solving it. Next, we need to start prioritizing our relationships. And I mean really prioritizing them. Schedule time for your friends like you schedule time for the gym. Make it non-negotiable. Can't remember the last time you hung out with your buddies? Send a text right now. Plan something. Anything. Even if it's just grabbing a beer, playing some video games, or watching a Netflix movie. But what if you don't have close friends right now? That's okay too. It's never too late to start building those connections. Join a sports team, a book club, or a hobby group. The key is to find people with similar interests. And here's a pro tip: volunteer. It's a great way to meet like-minded people while doing something good for your community. Now let's talk about quality over quantity. It's not about having a ton of surface-level friendships. It's about cultivating a few deep, meaningful connections. Be vulnerable to your friends. Share your struggles. Ask for help when you need it. Most importantly, you should be there for them when they need you. And guys, let's normalize talking about our feelings. I know, it sounds cheesy, but trust me, it's a game changer. Start small if you need to. Next time a friend asks how you're doing, answer them honestly instead of the usual, "I'm fine." Here's another crucial step. Limit your social media use. I'm not saying delete all your accounts, but be mindful of how much time you're spending scrolling through other people's highlight reels. Instead, use that time to reach out to a friend, call your family, or plan a real-life meetup. Now let's address the elephant in the room: seeking professional help. If you're feeling overwhelmed by loneliness, there's absolutely no shame in talking to a therapist or counselor. They can provide strategies tailored to your specific situation and help you work through any underlying issues. Remember that study I mentioned at the beginning? The one about 15% of men having no close friends? Well, you don't have to be part of that statistic. You have the power to change your situation, to build meaningful connections, to beat loneliness. It won't happen overnight. Building and maintaining relationships takes time and effort. But it's worth it. The joy of having people you can truly count on, the comfort of knowing you're not alone in this world, that's priceless. So, here's your challenge. Take one step today. Reach out to an old friend. Join a club. Strike up a conversation with a coworker. Do something, anything, to start building those connections. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And together, we can beat this loneliness epidemic. We can create a world where no man has to suffer in silence, where we support each other, where we're not afraid to ask for help or offer it. You've got this, guys. Remember, you're not alone in this fight. Let's crush loneliness together, one connection at a time. And don't forget to join our community by subscribing to our channel for more content.